What could you lock with a bike lock and cause the most chaos? Two other bikes together. Not a bike lock, but someone at my middle school years ago figured out the master combination code for the master locks used on the lockers, and then someone else locked every single one in a giant clusterfuck chain in protest of the faculty doing nothing about locker theft. Next year they switched to a less stupid design. At school we had combination locks that could be picked by ear. If you had outstanding hearing, you could hear the tumblers reset after passing the correct number. I freaked someone right out by turning their lock backward repeatedly. They were protesting cruise missiles being based there. The footage is hilarious. Bolt cutters and hacksaws don't work, so they try brute force. The gate comes off the hinges. All I want to know is what lock they used. Edit. So a lot of people have said it's kryptonite locks. B. Mentioned the lock-picking lawyer. I think the police can be forgiven for failing. That's a brilliant one. Every so often I remember this footage. I did war studies at uni and I brought it up in a tutorial as a silly example of how an insurgent force could cause chaos against a much greater force for barely any effort. Which was a creative way of saying, look at the funny. Always bring a bike lock with you when you're out searching for your stolen bike. That way if you find it, you can prevent the thief from leaving before you get their lock off. And bring a better lock than the one you used when your bike was first stolen. In a car wheel. Extra points for taking off the hubcap, locking the rim to the frame, and then putting the hubcap back on so it can't be seen. No. Go back where you came from, Satan. Their name is Mathematic Addict. This has to be Satan. Someone else's kid. Only the real experience in your own basement. A Walmart after everyone goes inside on Black Friday. Or a Walmart before everyone goes inside on Black Friday. Half inside and half outside. The ones outside form a stampede while real-life Hunger Games takes place indoors. A bike lock factory door, one lock to lock them all. A bolt cutter's factory door. Now it will never be cut. My CD-ROM drivers were on a CD, so I know how that feels. The only porta-potty at a super spicy chili festival. All the porta-potties at a music festival. As someone who shat himself on a date at a music festival, I can confirm this will, in fact, cause a ton of chaos. Two people's ear gauges. I just vomited a little in my mouth at the thought of then pushed one of them nauseated face. My school locked the boys' bathroom door with a bike lock because they were using it for drugs and vaping. This caused people to be late for class because the other boys' bathroom was at the other end of the school. As you can imagine, wait time to use the bathroom was also increased, which didn't help the situation whatsoever. Solution: on the floor. A surprisingly effective solution for many things. Public bathroom doors. Put it on a main exit door and then set the fire alarm off. You'd be surprised how little people care when a fire alarm goes off while they shop. I was at a grocery store last week and the fire alarm went off. I was at the very back of the store and had just moved to this town, so it was my first time there. I kind of panicked trying to figure out if it's a real fire and where to exit. But everyone else just ignored it and kept shopping. Even when the firemen showed up, nobody cared. So insane to me. The kid I babysit threw a tantrum during luncheon while I was eating with his siblings. He ran upstairs and locked the handle of two doors together so neither could be opened, thus preventing that no one could enter their room. I didn't realize what that was meant for a moment, while I was eating his siblings. It's odd. It's not a short comment. I would have thought typing with would be quicker than finding it on your keyboard. Actually, at my old work we had a shed in back that was holding some more important things. I was the only one the three remembered the bike lock code, so would open it every morning, then have my coworker close it in the evening since he was usually evening shift and I was morning. Now at one point they made the biggest mistake of their lives. Now for reference, my supervisor was like another mom to me and I was really close with my coworker. So one day they fire me for reasons. So I leave and let my coworker and supervisor know. Coworker then quits that night after locking the bike lock. Supervisor decides to take a week off suddenly due to health issues and turns off her phone. The next morning, they realize that the shed is still locked. It takes them a week and they end up breaking the handles and having to get a new lock. Along with that, the shed held animal food that they needed. They had to buy the food at 50-pound bags for $60 each for the week. at least 2 per days. Note that I had nothing to do with this, and coworker and supervisor knew that the animals would be fine. It was pretty much just chaos and an inconvenience for a week. According to another ex-coworker, they ran around like headless chickens for almost an hour before they actually had to go get the food and do things. Every hour she would see someone trying to open the shed. The entire week they didn't even think to text me, or coworker and supervisor had no text waiting, either. So, they're also just idiots. Edit. There's also another bike lock holding gate closed that is rarely used but is used occasionally for big things. I'm the only one who knows how to open and close it since it can be tricky. Can't wait to hear about that one. Shopping cart to a car door handle. Now I know what to do next time someone parks like a cop's motorcycle. My suggestion is locking it on a roller coaster's rail on the fastest part. Watch the people fly. Our unexpected psychopath. Never judge a user by their username. I wonder if anyone is looking through the comments for ways to cause chaos. Maybe I asked the question for a reason. The fridge. Airplanes have a slot on the yoke for a control lock to keep the surfaces fluttering around in the wind. Some people do not check this before takeoff. If you put a bike lock in there, you'd cause some chaos. This is my greatest revenge story of how I used a bike lock to lock 2 car wheels together. I guess this fits here. Dude in high school thought it would be funny to take my laptop and smash it. Granted, I had already ordered a new one, but it really pissed me off. Few hours later, me and my pal on our off period decided to bike lock the dude's car wheels together. We did the front and back tires on the right side and then waited. When he tried to back out, it actually fucked the wheels up so bad he had to call a tow truck to get the car. A donut. To a cop's car door handle. Find 2 cars parked close to each other and lock the doors together. You could lock a rival meth dealer in your basement. I think that one ended in some chaos. Nothing a little chemistry couldn't solve. With the right container, of course. The beer fridge in an Irish bar. Step siblings. The doors to the flight control tower before shift starts at an airport that closes at night. Doesn't cause as much chaos as you'd think. Wow, that's an interesting video. I stand corrected. It may take a massive amount of skill, but if you could pull it off. 2 people with big enough gauges. Help. Someone locked me to a pole with a bike lock. Yep. Fire exits in a burning building. Good idea. Those seamstresses are probably stealing from you, Mr. Blank. Nobody is going to be sneaking into my nightclub without paying. Comedian Kellen Erskine has a bit about this. Save an aeroplane's landing gear. 2 random people's bikes. Reminded me of the time when my friend locked his bike in front of a building only to find out on his way out that someone used his lock to lock both of their bikes together. Well, seeing as I have a bike lock and an opportunity to cause the most chaos, yes.